What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to the Value Podcast, where valuable people attract people of value. We are sitting here inside of a historical moment, man. I'm so honored to be here, man. Reese, what's up, man? I met this guy, you know what I mean, just by stepping into the building before I say what the building is, and we just was having a casual conversation, and I was just amazed and in awe of what was taking place in here, man. Even from when you broke down the word. But
Word
we're
up.
gonna get into that. We're not gonna get into that
Not a
right now.
problem.
But tell the people a little something about yourself, man, and like where you came from and
It,
how
it-
you got here to
it's quite
Georgia.
interesting actually sitting here chatting with you because the concept of the place was designed to do exactly what we're doing.
Wow.
When I discovered the space, the effect and the inspiration from all this history motivated me to preserve it for future generations.
Hmm.
In my mind, you're a part of the future generation. So I
Nice.
saw this conversation happening 20 years ago when I got the space. I knew
Wow.
it had to be put forward so that future generations could appreciate the legacy of this space. So let's talk about this space.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? You said 20 years. Is this the first time this is taking place? Like with this type of setup with me and you
No,
talking?
no, no. But
Okay,
what I'm saying is 20 years ago,
20 years. Yeah.
my objective was to make this happen,
Mm,
and it is happening.
the vision
The
is
vision is
here
here.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my job was easy. I'm a hairstylist.
Okay.
In the 80s, I was an international hairstylist working for major cosmetic companies and major hair care companies. A lot of your viewers might be too young to remember Fashion Fair, which is no longer in existence, but it was Johnson Products cosmetic line for black women because very few black cosmetic companies were available in the 70s.
Okay.
It was Barbara Waters, and Fashion Fair came on the scene. And there might have been one or two others, and some white companies that maybe threw some tinted shades in their foundations to appeal to a black female clientele. So I came along. I'm in design school in Los Angeles as a struggling design student, and I was just really hungry one day.
Hmm.
I left my dorm downtown LA. I've been going to the Fashion Institute, and I'm just roaming around, starving. I just ended up in a department store staring, and it just hit me what I was looking at. I was in a cosmetics section of a department store looking at a gentleman doing makeup.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, I can do that. I go back to my dorm because I'd been studying fashion for so many years as a kid. I knew the who's who in the fashion and beauty industry. I wrote a fake resume saying I was a professional makeup artist,
Wow.
sent it off. It came back to me. Fashion Fair hired me, sent me to Bullock's on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. 2 weeks later, I get a call from the home office. We're hearing good things about you. Can you travel? Now, mind you, this is all from a fake resume. So I said, hell yeah, I can travel. So I started traveling for Fashion Fair and ended up, fast forward, became a professional makeup artist for Fashion Fair and other
Wow.
product companies. Then I'm in New York at a photo shoot. The hairstylist didn't show up, but I wasn't about to fake hair. That's a whole nother art form.
Right. Right.
So I come back, learn, get involved in hair school, and became an international hairstylist. All
Mm.
from that one day of hunger, realizing I can do makeup. Fast forward, I've got a salon on North Highland. This is about 25, maybe 30 years ago. I'm riding around in my little convertible. I turn the corner we're in the historic district.
Right.
I
Right.
turn the corner on Auburn Avenue, and I look to my left, and on the glass it says Madam C.J. Walker Beauty Shop. I completely freaked out because I know the legacy of Madam C.J. Walker.
Yeah.
I get out of my car, start touching the glass and just paying respect. So I did that respect thing for over 10 years. I would come back periodically and touch the glass. 20 years ago, I needed a new location for my salon, and I remembered this space. I said it'd be interesting to operate Ricci International out of a Madam C.J. Walker beauty shop.
Yeah.
The lease is available. I get the key. Did not know that I was going to stumble on to beauty tools used by the last living Walker agents that worked here.
Wow.
The barber next door told me that the last living beautician was still alive. She was in her 90s. So I had her brought over. And I had the camera crew, like we set up here.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
the cameras, the audio. We interviewed her. She told me that when she started doing hair here in the 1940s, a shampoo and press was 25 cents. And she's showing me the tools that are on display right on the other side of us. These were the tools she used. So I
Mm,
said, "Shit, I got to preserve this. Young people need to know this."
right.
So 2 years into my lease, I'm doing hair in my Madam C.J. Walker Ricci International Salon. Black lady comes to the door, stuck her head in, and said, "Mr. Ricci, did you know that Word Radio, the first black radio station in America, operated upstairs
Upstairs in this
over
building,
this space?"
over this space.
She said, "When I was a little girl, I could hear the music spilling out from the windows onto the streets." I was frozen.
Wow.
I'm thinking, who in the hell decided not to preserve a legacy like that? And my client at the time was with me. She said, "Because you were supposed to find it."
Mm,
And so I've been preserving the legacy of Madam C.J. Walker and Word Radio, which is where the expression "word up" comes from,
yeah, yeah.
for about 20 years now.
So this is interesting because I didn't know that particular backdrop or history behind your story. Now, that's connected to the value of relationships because I'm sure along that road there were some relationships that you had made that got you to this point,
Yeah, yeah.
like going from LA to New York and then coming here. Now you said you used to touch the glass. Now when you said that, was this place was vacant then?
I don't know if it was vacant and I assume because the lady was in her 80s and 90s,
Yeah.
it had a certain look. At 80 years old, you're not getting out there cleaning your glass on
Yeah.
the front of your building. You're just coming in, doing your clientele. And I think the space had been vacant maybe 5 years before I got it. So I think when I first saw it, it was occupied. The lady's name was Dorothy Smart, but
Yeah.
they called her Mother Dot in the
Mm.
neighborhood. Yeah.
But that's so interesting to be even right now to be sitting in here. It gives me a little
Listen,
goosebumps and
man.
chills that these particular individuals actually stepped foot in here. What was some of like the music artists that
Let's
you
just
said
back
came
up a
through?
minute.
Okay, back it up.
The
Because I'm
women,
excited, man.
the
Like
women of the civil rights movement would have been in here getting their
getting
hair
their hair
done.
done.
The
So much value was in
the
here,
official
man.
headquarters for Dr. King's SCLC is right behind that wall behind me.
Wow.
That's Dr. King's office. He would have been sitting in there 50 years ago.
While the women in here getting
While the
their
women
hairs
here
done,
getting their hair done.
talking
The
whatever.
printing press for Dr. King is downstairs where all the literature was printed.
Wow.
Upstairs was the Madam C.J. Walker Beauty School, and above that was the other black woman millionaire beauty pioneer that was written out of history. So the building is really layered with history.
And then they had the word station
Word Station was
up
directly above us,
right above
right
us.
upstairs. Studio A.
Wow. I'm pretty sure Martin had to broadcast something out of there.
Absolutely.
Had to.
This was the station King used because if you think about it, Word Radio was extremely significant to the civil rights movement, but doesn't get the accolades because people don't know about Word.
Yeah.
But without Word Radio, King wouldn't have had a platform to deliver his message.
Mm.
It was the only black owned and operated radio station in North America. White stations are not going to let a Negro go on and say where to boycott. So Word Radio also introduced artists that couldn't get played because of the Jim Crow laws.
Name a few artists.
Everybody was over here. Jackie Wilson, Sam Cooke, the Ink Spots.
That's
I
crazy,
mean,
man.
who else was on the strip? Let me see. Duke Ellington, Count Basie, everybody. It was the who's who.
Yeah.
If you think about the Harlem Renaissance,
That was taking
Auburn
place in-
Avenue, it was like sliding doors. Auburn Avenue was the Harlem Renaissance of Atlanta.
Mhm.
But New York is New York, so it carries the weight, so people know New York. They didn't know Atlanta like that.
I got a question for you. This is a question I wrote down. So I got Madam C.J. Walker she really valued relationships between her and her clients, and with you being in this position, how did it impact your relationships? Because you know what I mean, from me watching her documentary and reading up on her, she really valued relationship between her and her client, her community, and so with you knowing that history and then been sitting in this position, how does it impact the relationships that you have now in your life?
Well, let's broaden the perspective, first of all.
Yeah, let's do it.
Even though the movie was about Madam C.J. Walker, the real heroine, she's a female, of the black hair care industry starts with Annie Turnbull Malone.
Annie Turnbull Malone.
She was the first to have a school of cosmetology for the study of black hair in North America.
Okay.
She was the first black global brand.
Okay.
Full stop.
Wow.
She was everywhere. North America, South America, Africa, the Philippines, Cuba, the West Indies, Nova Scotia. That woman was balling. Madam Walker went to her beauty school, and sold her products and learned the industry and but she was a better marketer and became a millionaire beauty pioneer. But what they don't talk about is the other black women. Americans, in my opinion, well, African Americans, which is the culture that I really love and promote, they get caught up into what I call the pilgrimized perspective on things, the Caucasian perspective.
Right.
If you ask a room full of women about Madam C.J. Walker, they're going to talk about first millionaire. That is a discredit to that great woman's legacy if the only thing out of your mouth is how much money she had. She was a philanthropist, anti-lynching campaign, not to mention, this is the part that gets me, there were other black women that were extremely successful that didn't make $1 million. So they don't deserve any kind of recognition. They're not even talked about.
So they may not have what was highlighted
500
on shows right now as quantity, but they had this quality that they provided to relationships.
If you were a black
community.
woman and you made $50,000 in that era, that deserved mention. They're not even talked about. Madam Huckenhull out of Houston, Texas, who had her own line of skincare, hair care, salons. The other one, Sarah Spencer Washington out of New Jersey, millionaire's beauty pioneer, had a school in this building on the 3rd floor that Mr. Bronner, the great Bronner brother family, the founder, graduated from her beauty school
in this building. This is valuable right now.
This is insane.
Let me hold on. So I really want to know, like, with you having this information and having these particular type of encounters, how does it impact your relationships or interactions with people now? Because I know it has to do something, because it's a lot of...
The most direct impact as a result of absorbing and being connected to this legacy is humility. Because I thought I was the shit in the 80s. I'm traveling for hair care companies, white companies, black companies, everybody's calling me, so there was an ego thing associated with it. But the more I learned about the people that came before me, it just brought me more grounded, more a sense of humility, and just being grateful to be riding the ripples of the waves that they created in the face of Jim Crow hypocrisy.
Wow. Even as you're saying that, I'm saying, like, there's a level of humility coming over me now. Like, I'm very grateful to be sitting here right now.
What are you talking about, man? It's an even exchange.
I'm so grateful.
Regardless of what I've done, I'm humbled at the fact that somebody's even interested in something that I've said as it relates to these women are my sheroes.
Yeah.
They made it happen. They are why we can sit here and not stress. When we talk to...
Let me say this real quick. Because I know, a lot of times we highlight the men.
Yeah.
And, and no disrespect to the men. There's some powerful men, I'm sure, that's, like you said, describe Martin next door. You got Sam Cooke and Duke Ellington coming through here. But I really want to highlight, take this moment, because there's some powerful women out there that came before the women that we see now. But I think some of the young women or even older women that don't recognize some of these names that you mentioned, we didn't understand how powerful those relationships having relationship to that history is so powerful for the next generation.
Women have been doing it all along, but men have characteristically held the keys to the kingdom, but women have all along built the foundation.
Shouts out to the powerful women that came before.
Period.
Even the women that are out there now, shouts out to the powerful women. I always say that a lot when I'm doing my podcast, like, especially when I'm highlighting women, that women have a lot of power. when they tap into that potential, women have the power,
Okay,
man.
let's back up a little bit. Anyone that's in medicine, regardless of where you are on the food chain, whether you're on the ground, like ER, a nurse, or a brain surgeon, or a surgeon, or anyone in the medical field, anyone that is in the legal field, whether
Mm-hmm.
you're a paralegal, attorney, blah blah blah. If especially if you're black, if you back out of it, some female in your family more than likely did hair so that the next generation could go on to an institute of higher learning.
Mm-hmm.
Period. In the African American experience,
Yeah.
black women supported the next generation so they could go on to school. Because I'm old enough to remember when it was. You guys don't take it for granted. I mean, take it for granted. When I was coming up, it was a major deal if somebody in your family was going to college. I
Yeah.
mean, that was some serious celebratory shit.
Yeah.
Now people are going to college like it ain't, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Left and right. If you want to go to college, you can go to college. That wasn't always the case.
Mm.
It was major when somebody in the neighborhood went to college. Then when they graduated, man, this place, America, is unique in terms of its opportunities, but it is the supreme capital of hypocrisy.
Mm.
But I don't want to go in that direction.
Okay,
We just
let's not do that. But you know what? You said that word, and it still stands out to me. Actually, two words. You said humility and grateful.
yeah,
That is what impacted your relationships now. There's a level of humility that's upon you, and I believe this society. I don't even say generation anymore
yeah,
because it's a large scale.
right.
So our
It's
society,
divisive.
I believe, me knowing about this history and even the newfound information that you're delivering right now, that's what that type of connection to the relationship of our past, without even being able to physically touch these people,
Yeah,
but be able to touch their minds through reading and studying, creates a level of humility in me. Like when I walk down this street, Auburn, and through this neighborhood right there, there's a level of humility that comes all over me, and I value the relationships of the people that, what should I say, uphold the legacy.
yeah.
Even a person like such as yourself, to uphold this building and still be able over here, being to maintain it. That's another level of value, man, because it takes another level of humility to do it without letting your pride get in the way and say, you know what, man, I don't care about that.
Right. And there's no, when you just, this thing fell into my lap. My wife said, you can't run a museum. But once I came into space, I had a spiritual, cultural obligation. Once I learned this, I couldn't let it go. I could have easily not have all of these artifacts in here, put in 5 or 6 stylists, because you're going to make money off each head,
Mm.
and just run a full-fledged salon. But the money is insignificant, and it depends on how you look at wealth. And I don't look at wealth in terms of cash exclusively.
Okay.
Wealth is the freedom. I have the freedom to come in and sit down and chat with you, and when I finish, I can just go get me a cappuccino if I feel like it. To me, that's wealthy.
Yeah.
Not necessarily how padded your wallet or what kind of card. I got some nice toys, but I worked a long time to get them. But the freedom, I have a son, and from the time he was born, I had the time to take off. Anytime he had an event or had to be at school, he knew his dad was going to be there.
Now we're talking about
That's freedom to me. That's value. That's wealth,
that's a
where
level.
you can move and you're controlling the volume, the horizontal, and the vertical.
Mm.
That's wealth.
Say that again. Because what you're talking about right now, and I was exchanging this conversation with
Yeah,
some of
when
my
you
friends,
own your own life,
is we were
that's
talking
wealth.
about quality versus quantity.
Yeah,
And most people have a quantitative lifestyle and not a qualitative lifestyle.
right.
So that quantitative is dealing with the amount of something. I got a lot of stuff or I got a lot of money. And not to say that I don't,
But it owns you.
yeah, but it's a difference between that and quality. And what you just described was a quality life. And I believe sometimes in our society now it's painted that if you have more, then it equals a quality life.
That's a pilgrim philosophy that I don't subscribe to.
But it's actually, what's amazing? That when you're saying what you're saying now, you coming up, you were after the quantity.
Yeah.
But now you have a quality life that automatically produces quantity.
I had to recalibrate.
Recalibrate. Because here's what I was telling my friends, that I always mention, like, God works from the inside out. So he's trying to give you quality before quantity. Because once you have the quality, quantity automatically comes. It's by default.
Exactly.
Wow. So now that's just what I'm saying. You have this opportunity now with this quality lifestyle, freedom to do as you please.
And I try to get young people to understand, if you make $10 a week, damn it, don't spend 11.
Mm.
That's crazy. You know, always live under here. And then you say, so when shit fluctuates, it's not affecting you that much.
Mm-hmm.
But control over your life, to me, is the most important thing.
I believe that's true value right there. When you have freedom and control, like you said, to do as you please.
And it's attainable.
Yeah.
But you've got to recalibrate and adjust your thinking.
Wow.
You start going after dollars and just grinding like that, and there are certain terms that really trouble me within a younger generation, like haters, that term, because
Mm-hmm.
I've been hearing it for like maybe 20 or 30 years, and I don't understand what the problem is,
Mm-hmm.
because if you put yourself on a trajectory and a certain path, you shouldn't be concerned about that. That means you're turning around and concerning yourself. I'm
Mm.
only concerned with my objective, period.
Mm-hmm.
So how would I know if anybody is hating on me?
Mm.
I'm preoccupied
Focused.
with going after this. So if you're worried about haters, then you're really comfortable. You need that sort of energy or feedback. You shouldn't even do the word. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to stop saying the fucking word. I'm not going to use the word anymore, and I'm not going to use any more profanity. But
Oh
yeah, but I
man.
hear young people, especially, we lease the space out for different groups, and it'll come up in like a song or something, something hate it. So I was like, what are they talking about? Why are
Yeah.
you worried about it? You're
Yeah.
not busy enough. You're not focused.
Mm.
If you are turning around, because you have to turn around because they're hanging on.
Yeah.
These are hang on. So if you are going in your trajectory and increase the velocity, they can't hang on. And you shouldn't be concerned about that. You should be preoccupied. There's a term also that I heard growing up, chasing your dream.
Mm-hmm.
My beginnings are the complete antithesis of what you or your viewers might see right now.
Mm-hmm.
That concept of chasing your dream, I lost a long time ago, because in my mind, I should be moving at such a pace that I should be dragging my dreams.
Wow.
Your dreams shouldn't be in front of you. You should be in front, trying to bring your dreams along with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're chasing your dreams. That means you're slacking. You're behind. You shouldn't be chasing your damn dream.
Man, let me tell you something, Reese. You're not gonna go ahead with this value. I told y'all, man. Y'all listen, man. If here's the thing, people may be listening to this and watching this, like, what does this have to do with the value of relationships? It has everything to do with it, man. We're connecting dots over here. You're connecting dots from the past to the present, and even leading into the future for those who are listening. And I'm listening. I'm taking mental notes right now. Before I close this down, I want what is something that we don't know about you?
Ooh, I think I've spoken one time in my life about the details of what my life was like growing up,
Mm-hmm.
which is the complete antithesis of what you see now. So the I'm not going to go into it, but the best capture of my life came from when I did this program called Creative Mornings Atlanta. You hip to that?
No, no, no.
Yeah. So it's on YouTube, and this is the first time I ever spoke in public. But basically, briefly, the very beginning of my life, between 5 and I think 13 or 14, I was in like 4 different foster homes.
Mm.
So I remember tearing linoleum from under the sink, because linoleum was the floor of choice back in the day. It was just like some rollout plastic.
Yeah.
And I would have to go under the sink or something and tear some linoleum and put it in my shoe because we couldn't afford to get our shoes fixed. And you affect a certain walk because you don't want to walk and have the hole exposed.
Yeah.
So you sort of walk like this and you don't really cross your legs much. It's little things like that. And then when I found some good shoes, I had to hide them because I'm in a foster home. You can't just bring, stuff home.
Right.
And I remember going to government stores and, not going, but people taking me. And then you would pick your shoes out of a bin that were connected with wires, blah, blah, blah. But as a fashion mind, it was sort of troubling because I've always been aesthetically, into style. But when you grow up in that kind of situation, you can only flex so much style if you're wearing government clothes.
Yeah.
So to go from that and to work my way into being like what I consider myself to be on top of the beauty industry and, just artistically excellent. It was always my objective, making sure that everything has a certain style and flair to it, even to the type of cars I have, like the
Okay.
little toy outside.
Man, I might
It's
have
just
to. I might
interesting.
have to come in here and let you.
It's like I'm always
style me one day, man.
It's like I'm always every day I'm mindful of what I came from. So I can't be arrogant. I'm artistically arrogant, but as a human I'm not arrogant. I'm very confident in my artistic perspective on things and how to put things together in terms of space, but my character is very humble.
So you always do what I'm hearing, like you do a passing review, constantly reminding yourself of where you came
Yeah, I can't
from.
help it.
So in your present mode, you're moving with the level once again of humility
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
gratefulness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why everybody on the street, they know and respect. The crackhead, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I treat the person that's sleeping behind the building with the same respect as the person that owns the damn building.
Yo,
You get no difference.
with that type of line right there, this is where I'm gonna have to shut it down.